Right out the gate, Hijack is expecting you to suspend all disbelief and say that someone would be cheating on Idris Elba with some regular Joe Blow. Sure. Hello, everyone. Terrence here with Hollywood Already Did It. If you haven't already, go ahead, like, share, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, ring that bell below. Anytime we have something, you will be among the first to know. Apple TV just keeps churning them out. And as we come to the finale of Silo, which I'll have up a review of that up first thing in the morning, they've released started the first two episodes of the new series Hijack from starring Idris Elba. This is going to be non-spoilers. When I continue on, because I am going to continue on, because I do like what I'm seeing so far, we will get into the non-spoilers and into the nitty-gritty of things. But for right now, I'm going to sort of do a surface level review of the show, the first two episodes that I've seen so far. The general premise is that Idris Elba plays a gentleman named Sam Nelson, who is getting on a flight to go rectify and fix his marriage, which she is already sort of given up on and has moved on with another man. He ain't Idris, but she's doing it. And in that flight gets hijacked. It's a flight from Dubai to go to London that gets hijacked, and a massive thriller ensues. And it's sort of a timestamp thriller, along the lines of 24, where each episode kind of covers 45 minutes to an hour of time, real time, in the show. That's sort of the one connection I think it has to 24. People keep referring to this as the new 24, and it has some elements to it, but that's sort of the biggest one, is having a moving clock that sort of goes with the show. So we learned that there's 6 hours from where the flight took off to where the flight is supposed to be landing, for them to figure out what they have going on that flight. The show starts off with the first episode called Final Call, which is sort of an introduction to all the characters that are sort of going to exist on this plane. We see the typical thing where everybody's coming from wherever they are in their walks of life. We got a sports team, a ladies sports team on there. We got a family with the mom wearing the pants in the family. We got some nerds, some dorks, some macho guys that think they can stop and do whatever they want. You got to run the gamut of what you want on this plane. But on that plane, you also have Sam Nelson, who, what we learn to is one of the best closers. He's like the negotiator that everybody sort of calls on to kind of come negotiate deals, come to get things done. You call in Sam Nelson. He's sort of the big negotiator. So what I like the most about this is that they don't have him being a part of the CIA. They don't have him being this big, massive action star. He is using his brains, which is a sort of a twist on 24. It's kind of like, what if Columbo, or what if even Luther? We'll use that because that's who he was. If Luther and 24 sort of married, this is kind of what you'd get here, because you're getting a thinking man's thriller, whereas instead of Jack Bauer always going into punch kick, he is using his brains to sort of outwit these hijackers. There's about 4 or 5 of them, but he's using his brains to get on the good side of them. And sometimes it may seem like he's pissing off some of the rest of the passengers, which he is, but he's doing it for the bottom line, is to make sure that they get out of this situation okay. And he's using his intellect to outsmart them, to kind of put things in place so that this plane and most of the passengers, as many as he possibly can get back to safety without harm. The first episode sort of is a setup piece to kind of put all those pieces in place, and then and it ends with the hijackers finally taking over. And the second is as the plan starts to kind of ruminate, and him make a decision to sort of help the hijackers. He puts a plan into place that gives a clue to folks who may not be on the plane, because they shut off all communications, who may not be on the plane, to sort of, hey, something's not right there. And he's just playing these games that make it a thinking man's thriller, which is something we don't really get anymore. A lot of the action thrillers that we get now always have to have punch, kick. These first 2 episodes don't really have any action vibes to it. It's all just Sam trying to get the better of, or trying to figure out how to get ahead a bit to take control, so that he is sort of the mastermind of it all. It's really well done, and I think it's a by the books thriller, but because Idris is who he is, there's so much gravitas to who he is and what he's commanding and what he's how he's delivering things that you believe everything that's happening there. Except for the fact that he's being cheated on. Because nah. A couple of things that are important to note. This is a UK show. And that may rub some people the wrong way. It's a weird thing to sort of describe. UK shows don't I don't have a problem with them, but they sometimes appear as if they are shot on a slightly cheaper budget. And that's mainly because of the way they film. So they use different color aspect ratios, they use different ways of filming. It just feels like it might be on a lesser scale. It's not. Everything here is a prime of good quality, but sometimes it just gives off that effect. Mainly in the scenes that are not on the plane. When you're on the plane, there's really only one way to sort of shoot that. It's always going to look sort of high end, but when they do stuff like in call centers or outside of the city, Dubai, or any type of call centers, it can look different to the eye than what a US made show would look. That's the only really qualm that I think some people may have. Otherwise, this is a really well produced show. And it's a really well acted show. And I am excited to sort of sink my teeth further into it. The series is only going to have about 6 or 7 episodes because it's happening in real time. And I think that's sort of the hanging hat thing this show has. Um, Outside of Sam, you're probably not going to really delve too deep into any of the characters out here. They're all sort of stereotypes of people. You got, like I said, the cranky mom, the school kids who are on a sports trip, the nagging Karen, if you will. All of those people are character types or stereotypes of people. But Sam's the one person that sort of there's a little bit more meat on the bone to him. But I don't think you're really going to get into many other characters. The piece that works for this is that who they are is not as important as the intensity that happens from each hour mark that happens within the episode. So I think that is where this show keeps ratcheting up that thriller aspect. And eventually Idris is going to have to take over. I think what's also important here is that usually when you see Idris Elba, because he's such a large, imposing figure, like he is 6'2", he's pretty much larger than most actors and most people that are on screen. You would think that the first thing that you're going to have him do is punch, kick. But here he's very much the thinking man. He's being very methodical, and that's refreshing to see. But I do think eventually he's going to have to try to overpower these folks once he gets them in a level that he feels comfortable enough to sort of make that move. And I look forward to sticking with this and watching that to see when that is. Again, this particular review, non-spoilers. You got a little bit because I want to get the story by, but this one, non-spoilers. From this point on, when I do episode 3, we're diving in. And that next episode comes out July 4th, and I will be here to talk about it. But what did you guys think about the first 2 episodes of Hijack? Or leave your thoughts and comments in the comments below. If you haven't already, you can follow us on Twitter at HollywoodADI. You can hit us up on email at HollywoodAlreadyDidIt@gmail.com. We also have a podcast with the same name that's on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere that plays podcasts. We're there. And like always, I got my ticket. You got yours.